Hey guys, what is up? This is Justin Uprising, and today I'm gonna be speaking about Batman vs Superman. Went to see it last night, Friday, March 25th, and I'm just letting folks know right now I'm gonna have some spoilers in this review of the movie. So with that said, I'll let you know when the spoilers are coming up. But is it a bad movie or is it a good movie? I've seen a lot of people saying it's been pretty mixed reactions so far. Especially, but mostly the critics are the ones saying that it was a bad movie. But mostly fans are saying they loved the movie. It was an amazing movie. Now, my view of it was that it was an amazing movie. I mean, they did Batman justice. They did right by Superman, and especially by Wonder Woman, who probably stole the show. The music in the movie was amazing. I will say that the music, the action, the dialogue, I think was pretty solid. And overall, I thought it was a pretty good movie, a solid 8 out of 10. Not a good movie, obviously has its flaws a little bit, but overall, a pretty solid movie, a great movie to kick off the DC Cinematic Universe. I love the movie very much. I'm a huge Batman fan, so I've been pretty excited about this movie for a while now. So now I'm gonna get into the spoilers. So if you want to hear it, you can just check out right now. All right. So basically, the movie it starts off with Martha Wayne and Thomas Wayne being shot once again. This time they shot in front of the theater, a few feet away from it. But as we see the pearl necklace falling down to the ground and everything, I thought it was pretty well done. It is done as part of a flashback within a flashback because we see small Bruce Wayne as a child running towards the forest during their funeral, and he falls into like a hole, a ditch in the ground, and that's where he sees the cave full of bats. I thought that was pretty well done. The bats surround him. At first he's scared, but then he's not, and he starts floating in the air. Symbolism within the dream of what will happen. The music in this part was extremely well put together, introducing us to Batman. Then we got the introduction to Superman in the film. We saw what happened at towards the end of Man of Steel. We see Bruce Wayne arriving at Metropolis via helicopter, getting into his car and driving off into the city, trying to get to Wayne finances. They made Bruce Wayne, the person right here, look real badass as well, going to basically into the fire. He's helping people that are stuck. Like this one guy that works for him named Wallace or Wally, who became part of the plot later on in the movie. He helps Wally get out of because his feet are crushed due to a steel beam, so he moves the steel beam to get Wally out of there. And he saves a little girl from like some sort of a beam or something falling on top of her, and so he saves her right there. I thought this part of the film shows the human side of Bruce Wayne. Like you could see the anger that he had when he sees up in the skies and he sees Superman fighting Zod. So I thought the movie right there started off pretty damn well. I mean I don't understand why people are criticizing the movie as much as they are. I think the critics are probably full of shit. I think they have a bias, but then again, most of the fans seem to either enjoy the movie or think it's pretty good or okay. But the the problem is that the critics seem to give it low scores, but the critics can go fuck themselves because they've said it's a movie by comic book fans for comic book fans, and if you're a comic book fan, if you're a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of DC, if you're a fan of Marvel, if you're a fan of Batman, if you're a fan of Superman, of Wonder Woman, you're gonna love this film. The film was pretty much well done all around. The battle between Batman and Superman is an epic battle, and as I wanted to happen, Batman won. As always, we get this awesome montage of him preparing for the fight with the music in the background. The music was pretty. The music in the movie is just freaking phenomenal, really. They show Batman making kryptonite weapons and everything. And when he starts the fight with Superman, which they're fighting because they're being manipulated by Lex Luthor, it made sense the way Luthor manipulated them, because that's another thing about the movie. I'll get back to the fight in a second, but I want to talk about this real fast. Luthor is a pretty weak villain, not a weak villain per se. He's a strong villain, but he just wasn't Lex Luthor in the first half of the movie. Like, I did not see nothing of Luthor at all in him. Then comes the scene in the Senate. So the Senate invokes Superman for a hearing. But before this, Luthor had a meeting with one of the senators, Senator Fitch, I believe her name was. Him trying to get permission to import a piece of kryptonite that they found in the Indian Ocean. She doesn't want to do it because obviously she sees through his charades, and she knows that he wants to create a weapon to kill Superman. But the way that this part is done, so Luthor gets mad. So the way this is done in the Senate is pretty amazing, because in the scene where the senator calls out Luthor for his bullshit, which is in Luthor's private chambers, she comes and she tells Luthor, because she calls him, "Can I call you Sarah?" by her first name. She said, "You could call me Granny's peach tea for all I care." So it was like a throwaway line, but it came back to play a significant part. Because in the hearing, we also see a kid in a wheelchair, who is Wallace from the beginning of the film. But the wheelchair he has is one that was provided by Luthor. It's a kind of futuristic looking wheelchair. We'll see what happens with the wheelchair soon. So the senator, as soon as Superman walks in, she's intimidated. Not intimidated. She's just like awestruck. Then she realizes the tea on her desk. Somebody put tea on her desk, and when she turns it around, it says Granny's peach tea. I'm sorry. She looks at the chair where Luthor is supposed to sit. The chair is empty. So she's freaking out. She's having a panic attack before she realizes the tea, because she has like a bad omen, a bad feeling about this. So when she turns around the tea, we see the wheelchair where Wallace is sitting on. It's actually a bomb, which they thought with Luthor, I believe, thought would kill Superman, but it did not do nothing. It incriminated Superman a little bit. So we had the explosion, a very well done scene right there. I love that scene. It brought the Luthor character to the sadistic, the villain, the manipulative son of a bitch that he could be. Like the evil side of Lex Luthor, that's where it started to show for me inside the movie. I thought that's where they started to really get into the Lex Luthor character. So after this, we see the reports and everything. Superman decides to take off. So Luthor, in order to bring him back, he kidnaps Lois Lane. And basically, the reason he has Superman fight Batman is because he basically manipulated both of them. Like I said, he kidnaps Superman's mother, Martha Kent, and he says if he doesn't bring he says if Superman doesn't bring Batman's head to him within an hour, that he will kill Martha. And this is why. But here, Superman, before going off, Lois really talks some sense. Well, she tries to talk to him, telling him he can't do that. He said he wants to get Bruce's help, but he wouldn't I'm sorry about that. He wouldn't count out killing him in order to save his mother. So Superman flies off into Metropolis. I'm not really gonna get that much into everything in between the films. I don't want to spoil you too much for you guys. I think every comic book fan should go watch this movie. The movie is simply amazing. Aesthetically, it's beautiful. The music is amazing. Ben Affleck is probably the best Bruce Wayne Batman ever in live action. And I'm not just saying that because it's a new film. I actually believe that Ben Affleck plays the best Batman I've seen in live action or in any medium at all. My favorite Batman, the person I consider to be the top Batman, is Kevin Conroy, but I think Ben Affleck surpassed him. So getting back to the film, everything builds up to the big fight scene between Batman and Superman. They fight for at least like 2 to 5 minutes, something like that. Like around, it's not that long, but it's very rewarding in the sense that you see the fight. You see these two gladiators fight against each other, and Batman wins. Batman wins the fight. Batman had prep time, which if anybody follows even the slightest of Batman or comics knows if you give Batman prep time, you're gonna have a bad time. So Batman, as soon as he's about to strike the landing blow on Superman, Lois Lane walks in because Superman, before Batman's about to strike the blow, he tells Batman to save Martha. And Batman starts having all these flashbacks about his mother, which was Martha Wayne, who got killed in the alley, in front of the theater. I'm sorry. So he's asking him, why you say that name? Why did you say that name? Why you say Martha? And that's when Lois Lane runs in, trying to stop the fight, and she asks Batman to spare him because he says that's his mother's name. And Batman at that point realizes what's happening, that they're being manipulated. He throws away the kryptonite staff he had to put away Superman, not before cutting him in the cheek, like leaving him a small reminder, like, I got you, I won. And that's where they basically become like friends, which was pretty cool to see the dynamic between them. Superman wants to go save his mother, but Batman tells him, you gotta go to where Luthor's at. You gotta go towards the ship he's summoning to whatever the hell he's doing, because Luthor is basically summoning or creating Doomsday. Batman promised him that he'll go get his mother, that he'll get Superman's mom. And that scene with the thugs, with the Russian mob, the hired guns by Luthor, which one of them was KG Beast. It was a pretty awesome scene, violent scene too. Can't wait to see the R-rated cut of that. You got that real Batman, so that brutal violence Batman that many people have been longing for. But you just see how Batman goes through these guys. He won't kill. Lots of people think he's killed. There's a big going debate about that. Does he kill? Does he not? But he fucks them up pretty bad. He injures a lot of people. I will say that. Me personally, my friends were saying, "What the hell you mean he didn't kill? He blew these people up." I was like, "Well, he didn't blow them up. He blew up the turret gun. I mean, they probably badly burned and badly injured, but I don't think they're dead. I mean." It's pretty open for interpretation if he kills or not. Many people, I could see why people would think that, but then again, I don't think he did. But if he did, I think it was like one or two. I'm not sure, but I don't think he did. I think he did leave them pretty badly injured. But that's an argument for another day. So Batman saves Martha. He lets her know that she's a friend that he's a friend of her son's, and she asks, I'm sorry, she says, I figured because of the cape, which got a pretty good laugh out of everybody. So meanwhile, we see back in Metropolis, Doomsday is summoned, and he's gonna kill Luthor, but Superman, being Superman, he saves Luthor. And this is where everything went to shit. I mean, everybody's talking about how physically Doomsday looked. I didn't have a problem with it. I know that Doomsday is an involuntary type of character that he's gonna evolve later on if he does show up again into like a final form. But they did the power and the strength of Doomsday was pretty well done in this movie. He looked like a freaking an unstoppable beast. And so Superman carries him all the way up into the skies, into space. The army nukes them, and Superman is left floating, almost degenerated completely, his skin tissue, but he gets the radiation from the sun. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Doomsday came back crashing down, and Batman tries to stop him. And Batman, this scene is when Batman sees when he sees some Doomsday face to face, he lets out a "oh shit." That was pretty freaking hilarious because I mean, in that moment, I think everybody will say "oh shit," and this is where they introduce the Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, not introduce her per se because she's already been in the film, but she was introduced like in her costume, in her fighting form, and it looked pretty badass. The music they used for her right here was just simply amazing. So we have Wonder Woman and Batman now fighting Doomsday, but then Superman comes back down, and the fight is just amazing. Simply, it's just basically it's something out of this world. I thought it was pretty well done. I love the fight scene, and basically it ends in Superman retrieving the kryptonite staff that Batman was gonna use on him because Batman lured. That's another thing. Batman lured the fight with Doomsday towards the site where him and Superman were fighting at, towards that area of Gotham which is abandoned. So Superman, knowing that this makes him weak, he goes with the staff to kill Doomsday. Doomsday already lost an arm, so he's trying to grow it back so he grows like a spike. And he kills Superman right there, but Superman manages to kill Doomsday in the process. They both they take each other out, and there's this big explosion basically, and it's pretty well done. They did the death of Superman right here. I mean, I liked it how it looked and the meaning behind it. Then we get towards the end we get the funeral scene with the military and the government burying an empty casket, which they believe is Superman. There's a black casket with a silver S on it. They're burying in one site. Meanwhile, in Kansas, in a small lot, they're burying the real Superman in a regular casket. And Bruce Wayne and Diana are, I'm sorry, Bruce Wayne and Diana are at the funeral, the real funeral. So Bruce Wayne tells Diana that they gotta look up the other ones like them because Batman earlier in the film, like I said, I don't want to spoil too much for you guys. I want everybody to watch it. I mean, I think it's an excellent movie. But earlier in the film, we had Batman retrieve some files from LexCorp, and he found files on 4 metahumans, them being Aquaman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and Cyborg. We see The Flash in a convenience store that he stops in a armed robbery from happening without anybody even noticing. You can see in the video cameras, security cameras. Looks pretty cool. We have Cyborg's father dealing. He has Cyborg on the table, and he's wondering how he could save his son. And he has his cube. The cube is interacting, and all of a sudden the cube goes over his son and starts molding Cyborg. I think the cube is a mother box. And we're gonna see why later on when I say something that happens at the end of the movie, why it might make sense if it's the mother box. Which makes sense because in the new continuity we saw how the mother box played a part in helping create Cyborg. And we have the Wonder Woman file, which we see is Wonder Woman from back in 1918, I want to say, fighting in a war, pictures and everything. And the Aquaman footage they have. Holy shit. All the Aquaman jokes, all those Aquaman's useless, all he talks to fish, those fucking jokes were killed. They made Aquaman look like a complete beast in this part. They have a camera zooming into like a broken ship, and out of the hull of a ship you see glowing eyes, and Aquaman comes out of it. He uses his trident to break the camera, and there at first you're like, okay, he just broke the camera, and there was just a small push of it. Then you see the aquatic sonic boom. Holy crap! They made Aquaman look like they made him look like $1,000,000 here. Sorry about that. Again, they made Aquaman look simply amazing. Like, I couldn't believe how I've liked Aquaman in part, but I always loved making jokes about him, like all the jokes, and well, we can't make those jokes anymore. So, anyways, going back at the end of the film, we see after after Batman tells Wonder Woman they need to find all the other metahumans like them to fight. They show the casket, not Bruce Wayne's casket. That'll be real sad for me. No, they show Clark Kent, Superman's casket, and they show dirt starting to lift off it, like symbolizing that maybe he's alive. I think he's alive. Then we get a scene where they're taking Luthor to prison, and that's where they shave his head, and you can see his face. Like the transformation to Lex Luthor is complete. Like the villain, the evil bastard that is Lex Luthor. You can see in his face the seriousness, and like in the lip quiver and the baldness and everything. You could just see it. So when they're putting him in his prison cell, they're telling him keep your forehead to the wall and your hands to the wall, and your hands behind you, so we can apprehend you, because they're gonna transfer him. Then the lights go out, and when they come back on, Batman is behind them, and Batman he basically puts the freaking fear of God into him. Sorry, he puts the fear into him, and he tells him every step he takes, anything he does, Batman's gonna be watching over him. And this is where, when Lex Luthor, who was in the Kryptonian ship where he created Doomsday at, basically, he drops the bomb on Batman. He says the ring has been answered. That he basically put out the call. All the other planets and around the galaxy and everything, they know that Superman's probably dead, and that he's coming. And by he's coming, they basically setting up Justice League, and that's why I think the mother box is what's in the Cyborg video that I referenced earlier. That's what I'm getting at, because basically I believe, is gonna be Darkseid, and that is gonna be freaking amazing. Seeing everything go down, Darkseid and the Parademons and everything, and the Justice League coming together. So overall, I give the movie like a solid 8.5 out of 10. People don't listen to the critics. Like, if you're a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of Batman, if you're a fan of Superman, if you're a fan of Wonder Woman, this film will blow your mind. You will love this film. Don't listen to the critics. Like, the critics are giving the movie rotten reviews. Meanwhile, but the audiences are giving it pretty damn good reviews. I mean, the movie, everybody's going to see it. Everybody so far has been either loving it, but lots of people have been hating it because of the biases, I think, that's been established by those critics, influencing them somehow. But overall, I thought the movie was pretty damn good. It sets up the future of DC films. Also, lots of narratives about how they're setting it up. There was another scene that sets up a possible way they could go if they ever wanted to. That's very interesting, but I'm not gonna get into that because I don't want to spoil too much. You will see what I'm talking about. It's in a dream sequence in the Batcave. You'll see if you go watch the film. You know what I'm talking about. But overall, I thought the film was pretty damn good. I loved it. Loved every moment of it. They did everybody justice, and I can't wait. I can't wait for the Justice League movie coming out next year. I am pretty pumped for it. So, now with that said, I want to leave you guys with that. I'm going to be watching Civil War, obviously, coming in on May 6th, I believe it is. So I'm pretty pumped. I mean, I have all these superhero movies to watch. I have DC coming now. I have Marvel. I mean, it's a pretty good time to be alive if you're a comic books fan, guys. I mean, let's support one another, and I mean, it's beneficial for everyone to keep receiving films like these, because at the end of the day, we have choices. I mean, we have all these films. I mean, it's pretty freaking fantastic. This would have been 20, 30 years ago. Nobody would have believed that superheroes would basically be taking over the whole world in terms of media and films and everything. So it's a pretty good time to be, like they say, a comic book geek or comic book nerd. it's a pretty good time. So I'll leave you guys with that. So take care, guys. This is Justin Uprising signing off.